Happy International Women's Day.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome to our seminar this morning. I'm Belinda Goodwin from the National Board.
Hayley Ailey from the National Board. Lovely to see you all.
Brilliant to have you with us this morning. It's all about inspiration and champion women, certainly in our organisation. First and foremost, can we absolutely thank our fantastic sponsors this morning, Met Friendly, have been around for many, many, many years, supporting and looking after our members. They offer flexible and tailored financial solutions for our officers and for their family alike. So really important. Thank you so much for sponsoring this event this morning. Really, really happy with that. Just a bit of housekeeping. If you're not speaking, please keep your mics off and keep your pictures off if you can. This is going to be a very interactive seminar this morning with myself and Hayley. We've got some fantastic speakers, really excited to hear their stories. We've got Jen Sharplin, who's been absolutely, well, she's inspired me. She's inspired a lot of women around the country, certainly in policing, mother of four, and set up the Blue Minds and the Bleep Kind and done some fantastic work there. We've got incredible Lucy Walton. She won our Outstanding Women in Policing Award last year. For the work that she's done around enforcer training, and she there was some adversity that she faced whilst trying to get and looking at how it is for women and using that technique and everything, but she'll explain a bit more about that later on. And then we've got, the last but not least, the fantastic Karen Giles, who's our longest serving officer, female officer. So really great to, me and Hayley just be having a conversation with her later on. This is all very relaxed this morning. This is all about champion women, and listening to each other's stories. Please keep questions polite and in the chat. We will be monitoring it. If you do want to come in, please raise your hand in the normal way, and we'll be doing that. So first and foremost, I'm going to introduce now Lucy Walton, again our winner from last year, Outstanding Women in Policing. So we'll bring her in now. Thank you.
Good morning, everybody.
Lucy, sorry to interrupt. I've just realised there was no sound on your video. I want to play it again, if you don't mind.
Okay. Yeah, no worries.
Oh.
Just talk for a minute.
It's all right. I think everyone did hear the sound. They had sound. Some people did, some people didn't. Thanks, Lucy. Lucy was in that video, just for reference. But we'll let Lucy come in and talk about the reasons why she's here, and we've asked her to speak this morning. Thank you, Lucy. Go ahead.
Morning, everyone. For those that don't know me, because obviously some people will that are on this meeting, happy International Women's Day, first of all. I'm Lucy Walton. I'm 38 years old. I've got nearly 17 years service within the police, and it's gone within the blink of an eye, to be honest. I'm born and bred in Lancashire, which is the force that I'm attached to, and I'm married to Simon, and I've been married for 10 years, and we've got a little girl who will be shortly 8 years old. I am from a working class family. I've been born and bred, like I said, in Burnley all my life, to my mum and dad. And they always instilled hard work in me. And I think now that is starting to pay off because it's obviously rubbed off on me. Just before I joined the police, I was a teaching assistant. I've always loved helping people. I've always loved developing people, taking people through who they are. And back in my journey, I was a special constable for 4 years. I'd always fancied the police, but I wasn't 100% sure whether it was the right career choice for me. Did it for 4 years, 4 long years, because I was only young. I was 18 and a half when I did that. And I wasn't sure whether it was going to be the right choice for me, but it was. And then we turn and fast forward the clocks to 2007 when I joined. 2007, I embarked on my career in Lancashire Police, and I was posted to a little town called Leyland. I'd never been there. I'd never even heard of it. You know, people say you never leave your hometown, and I hadn't been to Leyland. My journey started there. I was a response officer. I did that for 5 years. I loved the action. I loved all things public order. So I suppose that's where my love in policing stems from. I then started to get an interest more in the public order arena, and I became an officer on the operational support unit. At that time, there was no females on it. I was very much on my little lonesome. It didn't bother me. It was something that I'd always wanted to do. And I thought, you know what, I'm going to have a crack at this because I'm a firm believer you only get one shot at life. I did that and I loved it, absolutely loved it. I was really well included in everything. My experience of that area of policing, I can't fault it. I have worked with some really, really cracking folk, and they've taken me through who I am. We all have weaknesses. We all have areas that we're not as strong in, but as a team, that's where your team effort and your team ethic comes into it. In 2016, I'm a little girl. And some will say, for those that have children, it does change your life. You have a different focus. It's then not all about work. You've got a little person that comes into your life and it kind of refocuses you, redirects you somewhat. But everything that she sees in me now, I hope that she will go on to be like me. And I know it sounds cliche and cheesy, but you know, if she's anything like what I am, a worker, then I'll be more than happy. I then started to look at digressing my career. I'd always, obviously, like I said, I like the public order side of training. And I'd thought about the training area, but never thought I'd be good enough to do it. And I suppose I've worked under some really, really good supervisors and some really good police constables along the way. And I suppose with a little bit of help and a bit of a nudge from certain people, they said, why don't you have a go? Now, I know that probably people listening to me now, they'll have had things in their career where you think, can I really do this? Am I going to get laughed at? My role it's not heavily populated with female officers. And you know what? I thought, yeah, why not? Let me have a go. And if I don't do it, I don't do it. Which brings me on to the slide that you're now looking at. So I joined the Public Order Training Department back in 2020. Before that, I'd obtained a lot of the qualifications. When I started to look at the MOE package, which is the method of entry, we saw a disparaging contrast in relation to male and females coming through. We had quite a high failure rate for female officers. So I started to question myself, thinking, well, why have we got that high failure rate? Why do we not have a lot of females coming through? So I devised a questionnaire that I sent out to all the force in frontline operations and asked them for some honest feedback. And as you can see, the things in front of you, these were the main remarks that officers were saying, that they were worried about the strength. They were intimidated about the environment that they were coming into. They didn't want the stigma of failing, because we all know what it's like. You go on a course, the first thing people ask you, well, did you pass? And if you didn't, it makes you feel silly. Well, there's nothing to feel silly about. You know, we can't all pass everything first time. For some people, it takes a lot longer. Me being one of them, I've never been that person that passes first time, annoyingly, but I've always had to work for it, and I'll get there in the end. And that's what I thought, right, I'm going to come up with something now, and I will present it to the team, which is a team. I'm the only female within my team at the minute. And yeah, you know, the introduction that I got, I'm right that I do face a few barriers. We are all adults. I have my views, you know, people have their views, and it's good to air them. It's good to have these healthy chats. I don't fall out with people if they don't agree with me, because not everyone is always going to agree with me. But I try to say to them that it's not just about making people pass. It's about making it appropriate for people to come through our doors. We have to get them through our training doors first. So that obstacle is a massive obstacle for some people. And it's not just females either. You know, we are now in a team full of people where we are welcoming, we're friendly, there's no egos. You know, if somebody doesn't understand something, it's not a stupid question, ask it, because you can guarantee someone will be asking exactly the same question. So I devised a female-only MOE course. 6 females came on it back in 2023, early 2023. I'm not going to lie, it threw up a few obstacles that I'd never considered. But all in all, we got very, very positive feedback from females that attended it. And some did say that it had definitely broken down the barriers for them. Yes, I was faced with various issues along the way around, you know, some people said that it wasn't appropriate, it wouldn't work. But in the end, we come to a decision that we would give it a try. And I thank them for it, because I think it's important that we try things. If we don't try, we'll never know. And obviously the pictures that you see now, the 2 gentlemen on these photos, they're laughing when I posted them to you. They are some of my inspiration, because I know that they'll back me. Yeah, we might have differing views, but if they think that I believe in it so strongly, and I do, they're happy to go with me and support me, and that's all I ask from them. I've been led, as I said, by some very, very good supervisors who've given me the right nudge when I've needed it. And hopefully what I've done will inspire other people to do going throughout their careers. And I know it sounds cheesy, but I hope people look at me and think, you know what, she's done some really good work there. And when I move on and do something else, hopefully someone else will come in and take it to that next stage.
Lucy, that's amazing, realistically. I mean, do you know what? Just even putting together a team of 6 and breaking down barriers, realistically, straight away, you know, a bit of a pun there, but not at all.
Yeah.
It's awesome. Do you see this spreading out across other forces? Can you see others taking on the more you, honestly, because that's where my head goes straight away.
Yeah.
You know, realistically, it's something that should be in place, because we know the issues are there across all forces.
Yeah.
The same comments will be echoed, I'm sure, across other teams. And what you've done is burst some barriers down there straight away, haven't you?
Yeah, I mean, it'd be great, wouldn't it? I mean, what a legacy, you know, when I move on to leave, that'd be absolutely awesome. Obviously, you know, technology moves on, doesn't it? Unfortunately, we are in a position where we don't have loads of money. If we had loads of money, we could bring equipment in that would help the fight of balancing, you know, the genders up in relation to the MOE world. But, you know, that aside, I think it's down to the people that you have in the team, the training team, making it approachable. You know, I've had some tough times when in certain bits of my career, and you know, it makes you a bit stronger, because you think, you know what, I'm going to have a go at this. And if I can't do it, I can't do it. But I think as you get older, you get a little bit more, well, what it's not going, I'm not going to lose anything out of it. Let's have a go. And that's what I want to try and instill in other people. Come and have a go. If it's not for you, at least you know you can put it to bed. And if it is, and if you don't do it first time, we'll work with you. Come back and we'll do a lot more work with you, because I want to see people achieve. That's why I do what I do.
How many females have you got now in that department? Have you seen a real a rise, or
yeah, we have. I mean, as a result of the MOE, we've now brought in an extra level, which was on the back of this, the female-only MOE, and we've called it level 1. So level 1, for those that are MOE, and I do apologise if you're not, we've brought in a lock snapping and a lock sliding course, because we realised that was 96% of the work that officers were doing out there for your concern for safeties. It's smaller tools, they aren't heavy. So it lets everybody come in and have a go, and it kind of bridges the gap for them. So some people come in and say, that's enough for me. And they get the title of that status, an MOE officer. You know, and that'll appease people if they can't do something. It's about giving them something to be able to do the job. I firmly believe every response officer should be able to be some form of method of entry trained. Because that's what we do, isn't it? We go out there to serve people, to protect people, and to save life and limb ultimately.
Lucy, in the video, I believe, because we haven't identified which one you were, but I believe you were the foot boot in the door in, weren't you?
Yeah.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Make sure I've got that accurate.
Yeah,
but
no,
doesn't
that's me.
that video just shows, though, doesn't it, realistically, that working as a team, you all take on different roles and you all
Yeah.
have different skills to bring to the table to achieve the objective of getting the door in and doing your job as a police officer. And I think that straight away should show, I hope, every I mean, we're on International Women's Day, so let's say every women police officers across the country, not to put themselves down.
No.
We're guilty of it. Let's be fair. We overanalyze everything, don't we? And whereas sometimes our counterparts, our male colleagues, they'll go, yes, I can do this, and there's nobody to tell me I can't. Whereas we talk ourselves out of jobs 9 times out of 10 because we think we haven't got one criteria ticked in a box that says you've got to be able to do that.
You've just described me in one sentence. They go mad at me in the office. They'll say, no, why are you saying this? You can do it. And I think, no, you're right, I can. I just have to have a bit of a quiet word with myself sometimes and put myself through. And that's what you battle with, isn't it? That's what I'm battling.
It is, but no, it's amazing what you've achieved realistically.
Amazing.
And I just hope we can try and replicate that. I mean, this is being recorded. I hope that people can record this and see it and think about the teams that are going on in all forces. There's been some comments put in the chat. Literally, I'm just trying to, can you scroll it down because I can't see that.
That's all of it.
Is that all
people,
of it?
You're hitting a nerve there, but with the chat that we're having around, that's me all over putting, saying I'm not good enough. There was someone that said they'd done the MOE course around 15 years ago. They were encouraged to do that and not held back. It was something that it was in the Mets that didn't realise there may be some stigma attached to it. I'm a Met officer. I was never encouraged to do it. In all honesty, I never, it's something that was never sort of. I was asked to do it, but looking at if I was younger in service now, or if I was back on the front line now, absolutely I would be looking at it. But what you've shown is there is a way through. There is a way, no matter what. If there's a barrier, you got over that barrier, and you strive then to make sure that we add diversity that within that. And you're absolutely right. As a response officer, it's a tool that we need to have when we're out and we are going to the welfare calls, etc. That it shouldn't be a barrier to stop us from doing our job. And all I can do is thank you so much for raising it. You are our inspiration, our Outstanding Women in Policing winner last year. I was happy to be on that judging panel and happy that it was going to a response, because it was something that we hadn't really looked at or seen before. They were all worthy, but there always has to be a winner. But I do thank you for taking the time this morning.
Just on that, I had no idea that I'd been put forward for that award. So I don't think it was yourself I spoke to, but when I got the phone call, I was like, I've just done my job. But it were really nice. I was dead pleased to get it, but I thought, it's nice to be recognised. But I just see it as I'm doing my job, and if I can just inspire a couple of people in this force and further afield now through doing things like this, I'm happy with that.
Can I just say as well to everyone on the call that Lucy's training. Are you cutting someone out of a barrel or getting someone out of a barrel after this?
Yeah, we've got a PRT, a protester removal course on at the minute.
There
and
you
they're
go.
on their final day, and we've got people with their arms in barrels. So that's why
Well,
I'm dressed
We
like
better
this.
we better let you go, because we want one, you know, anyway.
Just
No,
before we do let you go, though, those two people in the video as well that you talk about, realistically, who are they then? So can we give them a bit of kudos? So who are they? They must be, are they line management, are they, that you?
No, the two gentlemen in the pictures. No,
Yeah.
they're PCs like me. That's
Cool.
Graham Kenwood and Andrew Sid Greaves. As a three, they've been probably my rocks, if I'm honest. And they're good eggs. So,
and I think that's such a vital message to almost end on, isn't it? Realistically, when you get people around you that are willing to push you when you need pushing and tell you can do stuff and support you, you can achieve anything. Realistically, whether it be colleagues on your team, whether it be friends, whether it be line manager, whoever it is. So I suppose you'd probably say realistically that it's the help of those people as well, isn't it? That really...
it's not just a one. It's not just me. I came up with the idea, but without them and, you know, my sergeant, my inspector, it's a team effort. It's not just on me, this. But
I'm sure they are extremely proud of you.
Absolutely. As we all are.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you, Lucy.
Thank you very much.
Is there any questions for Lucy just before we let her go and get someone out of a barrel? Is there anything? What have we got? We've got a oh yeah, before we let you go, we need to show that tweet. Where is it?
Oh no, that's Jen.
That's Jen.
Jen's next time. Sorry, I'm hearing things in my ear.
No, there's no real question. It's just someone had a really bad experience. But again, it's about highlighting and everyone saying thank you and well done.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, Lucy.
Thank you. You
Bye-bye.
take care.
Bye.
That's lovely. Thank you so much, everybody, for engaging in that and putting some comments in the chat, because that's really helps us make this interactive. We'll try and get better at reading them as we go along. Multitasking is not our best strength, is it, realistically, when we're chatting? But moving on to Jenny, Sergeant Jennifer Sharpling, as you can see on the screen now, is going to come along and join us and can tell us what she's been up to recently. And again, another inspirational sergeant in policing that I think you'll really enjoy listening to, where she's come from, what areas of work that she's progressed into, and the help that she's given so many people across policing in an area that's so vitally important. So without further ado, I'm just going to hand straight over to her. I can see her on screen. I'm not sure if you can see her too. Welcome. How are you?
I'm okay. How are you?
All right, not too bad. Have we got baby with us in the background or anything?
No, the husband has taken them out because I've got the tyrant 3-year-old at home as well because he was sick yesterday. So,
bless you.
Thanks for Inspirational Women's Day. We're over to you, Jen. Thanks.
Thank you. Hello, everyone. So I'm Sergeant Jennifer Sharpling. I would say Jen usually, but my mum sat next to me and she likes me being called Jennifer. I'm a sergeant in the Met Police. I joined in 2008, so I've got 16 years in. All of my service has been on response team as a PC, a sergeant, and as an acting inspector as well. I've always been frontline, always been at the same station. It's my absolute passion, frontline policing. It's where I think all the magic happens, and you know, and I've loved it. I joined a fantastic team with a fantastic you know, governor, and it was a wonderful time. My mum has always brought me up to look after other people and care about other people, and as I was growing up, I always saw her doing that. So it was something that I always found really important. I never really felt any particular barriers in my team days as a PC. I did obviously notice the small microaggressions from towards other women, and I always made sure that I, you know, stood up for them as I saw fit. And I've always been the sort of person who wants to help people. You know, if there's someone sat on their own, I'll always ask them to come and join the rest of us, because I don't like people to feel alone. Of course, some people do like being alone, which is fine, but it's always best to ask, I think. I guess when I first started to feel barriers was when I first got pregnant with my first little boy. I've got four boisterous boys, and my husband's also in the job. And the stark difference to how he was treated and I was treated at the beginning of our parenting journey was quite incredible. My governor, I'd always had a huge amount of respect for him. He was a fantastic governor. However, when I told him that I was pregnant with my first child, he sort of said congratulations, and then asked me where I was going to move to, because he said, I'm not being funny, but you're no use to me anymore. And I think that was the first time that I really felt, oh, okay, this is what they all talk about. This is the, you know, what they talk about. But I had a beautiful little boy, and, you know, my husband and I embarked on our parenting journey, and it's had lots of ups and downs. In 2020, when I was expecting my third one, so my lockdown baby, I was finally diagnosed after suffering quite badly with a number of perinatal mental health conditions, postnatal depression, maternal OCD, PTSD and anxiety. I'd been struggling for a couple of years though, internally more than externally, because I just thought this was what being a mum was. I just thought, well, you know, obviously anxiety, every mum, you know, of course now you're just worried all the time. And it was a really, really hard time. There was times when I ran off the bus once because a young teenager who was obviously doing a childcare course at college started talking to Noah, my firstborn, and I jumped off the bus with him and ran home because I thought that she was going to try and steal him. You know, I'd knock on Harry, my second boy's door in the morning to wake him up rather than go in, because in my mind I was going to walk in and, you know, he would have come to harm, or, you know, or worse. So it was a really troubling time. There were lots of missed opportunities with midwives. I remember one midwife I'd finally sort of said when I was pregnant with Harry, oh, I'm feeling quite anxious, and she just carried on typing on her laptop. And if she'd have actually asked more, then she would have found out that I was waking myself up in the middle of the night to move around to make the baby move, because I was obsessed about the umbilical cord being around the baby's neck. But COVID happened. I got sent home by my chief inspector because obviously I was seen as high risk because I was pregnant. I got diagnosed. And then I returned to work the following year, March 2021. And I had been at home during the whole of COVID. I'd had a baby during COVID. I had 2 toddlers on top of that. And I went back to work, put my uniform on and did a late term, just like that. There was nothing in place at all. Just thrown straight into the deep end. On my maternity leave with Oliver, my third one, I'd passed the inspector's exam. I'd taken it on a whim and managed to pass it somehow. So that Friday night, I was posted as the acting duty officer for Southwark. So I'd been back from work 2 days, just, you know, been battling all of these things. I'd been in therapy, and I remember thinking, this is great. This is my dream. This is what, like, my mum worked at Peckham. It's a huge part of my life. So being the inspector at Peckham is amazing. But I've dealt with a load of really big things this year, and it's just thrown me into the deep end. So I put postnatal depression into our intranet and nothing came up. So I battled with it for a couple of weeks, you know, thinking, I just want to be able to tell someone or speak to someone about, you know, how I'm going to manage this thing that I've been going through, which now I'm on the other side of, and moving forward as a police officer and, you know, trying to speak to people about it. I had a conversation with with the OH lead about it, and I just kept saying to him, is there anything specific around perinatal mental health conditions? And he kept just replying saying, yeah, we do support people with mental health. Like, he just didn't get it at all. So I am my mother's daughter, so I thought, what am I going to do to sort this out. So I wrote a blog because I realised that I needed the person that I wasn't willing to be. I needed someone to have put themselves forward and said, I went through this, so I'm going to help other people. So I wrote a blog, which is quite daunting. It's 45,000 people in the Metropolitan Police. So it's quite daunting talking about your experiences. And I got so much support back. I got contacted by other people who'd experienced it, women, from men whose wives had experienced it. So I made a few inquiries around things, spoke to our Met Families thing and said, I want to set up this peer support network. Then I did a survey, because we all love a survey in policing, don't we? Everyone loves a survey. On Twitter, I'm quite active on Twitter, and I did a survey and I thought, well, do you know what? If I get 10 responses, it'll give me a little view of what's going on. I was quite relatively new to Twitter. I'd always been on there, but I'd started to get more active. And I think I got 839 responses nationally on this little Survey Monkey thing that I got a PC to help me to do. And it just showed me that it really is a line manager lottery out there, that there's a real lack of understanding around the conditions and around, sorry, that's my children returning in the background. So I went to Liz Barnett, who's a fantastic woman. She's the chair of the National Family Support Network. And I contacted her and said, look, this is what I've been doing. This is what I've found. I really would like this to be a national thing, because 1 in 5 women suffer from it, and it affects 1 in 10 men as well. And she's always been really, really supportive of me. She said, yeah, come along, come and join. And yeah, so it's just all gone from there, really. We've just set up a pilot in London where we do a direct referral. So officers can come to us, the Blue Minds peer support in the Met, and we can do a direct referral into a perinatal mental health team. So it leaves out the going to a GP and all of that, because we know how getting cops to go to the GP is a nightmare. And it just means that we can really get it there and then. When that person comes to us, we can send it through, and then they can get the support that they need. Another thing I'm involved in is Bleep Kind, which I think my wonderful friend Carly, who started it all up with me, I think she's is in the call. She's amazing. She's rubbish at technology, but she's amazing in every other way. We, again, on Twitter, 2021, there was an anonymous account that wrote something about the bleep test. They were doing the bleep test tomorrow and they were worried about it. And I couldn't believe the abuse that they got on there. I was stunned. I was absolutely stunned, because it wasn't even just anonymous accounts. There were police accounts with their name, their picture, being really awful and unkind. And I was nearing the end of my maternity leave with Oliver, and obviously it had been during COVID. And we all drank too much, ate too much, didn't we, in COVID and all of that. And again, I thought, you know what, I'm going to write a blog about, because it really got me thinking about my own journey. I've had 3 children. My second baby was £9.10. So I've had big babies. And I was, concerned about, I've always had a fear. I've never failed the bleep test, but I've hated every single one that I've ever done. And I've worried about it hugely before, every single time. So I wrote a blog about my experience, and I'm dragging this pregnant body running up and down the garden, trying to prepare myself again for going back to work, because we are so much more than the bleep test, right? We're so much more than that. And there are people, when I put my blog out, where I did get support. I was really grateful to get support, but there are a lot of people who were really unkind to me as well. And I just thought I could be sitting on a carrier next to some of these people. I'm a very competent police officer. I've got commendations for bravery. I've never had a complaint up until now, but that's another story. I've never had a frontline complaint. 16 years at Peckham, I'm a good police officer and I deserve to be in policing. My fear of doing the bleep test does not define who I am and my ability to be a police officer. And in this blog, it was a moment of madness that hasn't been repeated, but I came up with the hashtag bleep kind. And, I was ready for the abuse. I saw there was one woman, I've got 6 children, and I'm 57 and I can still do it. That's amazing. Like, well done you. But let's think about the people who don't find it that easy. It's not a race to the bottom. And then Carly got in contact with me and just said, oh, hi, can I use your bleep kind thing for a Facebook group that I've sort of set up? So I was like, yeah, sure, like let me join it as well, because it's and Carly had done it because she'd noticed that there had been worries and struggles in her own force about it, so she wanted, because she's amazing, she wanted to combat that and she wanted to help people. So we're very similar in that. And then she contacted me again and said, yeah, this is your fault. Lots of people are joining this group, so can you please come and help me? And that's how Bleep Kind came about. We didn't meet for a really long time after Bleep Kind was set up. It was just all texts and FaceTime and Teams meetings. But we've achieved so much, and I am here talking on this forum, but I couldn't have done the Bleep Kind stuff without Carly. She is, we are complete equals in the vision, and I'm really proud that we've got, I think it's 3,800 members on our Bleep Kind group now, and that's not just policing. Obviously most of them are police officers, but we've got the prison service, we've got the fire brigade, and it's a really safe community where people can say, oh, I'm really worried about it because of this, or I've put a bit of weight on, or I'm post baby, or I had an injury, and no one judges. But one of the most beautiful things about the community, one of my favourite things about it, is there are people in it who don't struggle with the bleep test at all, but want to help their colleagues, who want to help each other. So we've got a cop who is a trained personal training instructor. We've got loads of them. We've got dietitians, nutritionists, hypnotherapists, therapists, all police officers who've got side jobs, who are just coming in to offer that helping hand, that arm around the shoulder, to help. And you see people go, oh, I live in Bromley, is anyone nearby who wants to come out running? There was a group of, when we first started, there was a group of new recruits who started meeting up at one of the, I think it was Imber Court, to go running together. There are friendships being made, and and people are learning, and we managed to get a seat on the National Fitness Working Group around obviously the new changes around the bleep test and how it impacts people. And I guess my biggest thing is, and I do quite a lot of talks around the Met about Bleep Kind and things like that, but I think the main thing for me is it doesn't define you. It doesn't define you as a police officer, and it's the only thing that you have to fail to get help. If a PC comes to me and says, oh, I'm having trouble working out Connect or writing statements, then we help them. But we don't say, oh, you're not fit to be a police officer because you're struggling to write a statement. We don't say you're not fit enough to be a police officer because you're struggling with putting a crime report on, or any of those things. But the fitness test, it just seems to be, I mean, you see it when it's on social media, when the bleep test comes into a thing, that the lack of knowledge around it is astounding. And to say that someone isn't fit enough to be a police officer if they are worried about the bleep test is so insulting. And also people are joining older on direct entry schemes, and it's just about support each other. Whatever happened to the police family, so that's what we just push all the time. Just, support each other. There's nothing wrong with saying to someone, oh, would you like me to, rather than say, oh, I can do the bleep test. I'm 54 and I just did it. You know, I haven't done any training. Okay. So instead of saying that, why don't you say, do you know what? I don't have any trouble with the bleep test. How can I help? Is there any way that I can help you? And there's some fantastic accounts on Twitter who are really supportive around that sort of thing. But I guess, yeah, it's just about helping people. We've got such a hard job, you know, especially, you know, at the moment with all this stuff in the press. And I just think all I want to do is make it easier for people in some way, and make sure, you know, whether it's because they're suffering with their mental health, you know, if they're suffering after they've had a baby, you know, I'm a big advocate for, you know, flexible working and parenting. You know, it's a passion of mine about us really supporting parents in policing. That's not just women, that's dads as well. Dads are really important. And I think my main goal every day is that if people look at me and go, oh, she, you know, she's got 4 kids and she had these struggles, but, you know, I can go to her and I can help anyone, then I've had a good day.
Struggling then, technical issue, couldn't get the mute off. Jen, you're absolutely right. I mean, ultimately, thank you first for your honesty and sharing that journey, because there will be people that are watching this and probably watching the recording after that will recognise everything that you've gone through of being something that they've gone through themselves. And you're absolutely right. It's not an area in policing, especially when you're thinking about the prenatal depression, etc. It's still a stigma. There are a list of stigmas still in policing that, if you like, are eroding in normal society, but still exist in policing. It's bizarre. It's absolutely bizarre. We kind of put ourselves on a completely different standard test, if I'm honest, and we still have all these stigmas still existing. And I think you're absolutely right. I think it's such an area that still needs a lot of development across policing, for people to recognise that the support should be there. Just a quick question before we come on to the bleep kind. Would you advocate that the line managers receive education and all line management receive education and understanding in that area, do you think? Do you think that would assist?
Yeah, I think that you're right about the taboos. You know, I still speak to people who come back from their maternity leave and declare that they've had postnatal depression and they're stripped of their tasers, their driving. You know, it's a lack of. I came back to work 6 months after I had my second boy. I thought I was a bit like, oh, I'm not, you know, I need to go back to work, blah, blah. But it was about control. So actually, I was a very effective police officer because everything was as it should be. I knew what I was doing. And I'm actually developing with a fantastic friend of mine, Scott Mayer, and a charity that he works with. They're developing for me a training package that is specifically for police officers. And that is around not just how we can support colleagues by identifying different symptoms and things like that. But I think it's really important for all police officers, especially frontline police officers, to have an understanding and awareness, because I think when I think back to my younger days in policing, I think of all the domestics that I went to when there was a brand new baby there. You know, I think about the calls that I went to and there's a brand new baby, and actually we can do so much more by saying, have you spoken to a health visitor? Have you, you know, you've got a new baby, is everything okay? And I know that we do the right care, right person. I know that it's not our role, but it to even just signpost someone,
No,
that's really important. And the line manager stuff, absolutely. I mean, I it pains me that you can get promoted and not have in some forces any awareness of very basic things like leave types, like how to support an officer who's going on maternity leave or how to welcome them back. You know, all of these things, I just think it's crazy that isn't just a standalone thing. You know, we wrote the national guidance, which is being relaunched this year, and that's got stuff about perinatal mental health. There's Kerry, fantastic Kerry from GMP, who's a qualified midwife, and, you know, Louise Harries from DFID Powers. There's loads of us, but I still go and do talks, and say to people, oh, we've got this national guidance, and they haven't heard of it. So it's been sent all to chief officers, but it hasn't been sent down. So, you know, that's why I'm usually always on Twitter going on about it, because I think, you know, we just need that training so that people are aware, because that's how you look after people.
Yeah. Thanks, Jen. Absolutely inspiration as per usual. I'm so pleased that we've managed to get you on this call and talk about the inspirational stuff that you've done, because it is continuing, and the work that you do. And you are lively, very lively on X. We call it X now. And I love seeing some of the, but not love seeing it, but it's interesting to see when you do come out with really sensible, you know, really factual things that are carrying on, and then to get the responses that we see. And I try not to get involved in it too much, but when we're talking about, certainly around the JRF team, we've spoke about this at length. It is not a test, it is a warm-up to do the police officer training that we're supposed to do. So it's a really touchy subject, but setting up the bleep kind, I think, is allowed officers to get over that taboo per se, because we've been fighting this since 2013, been looking at it, you know, from a federation point of view, and certainly I was back in force then as well. So it's what you and Kylie have managed to do, I feel, is just save people from leaving the organisation. In all honesty, there's a lot going on in the chat at the moment, and there are people in there that have said, I'm going to come to Bleep Kind now. So you might get a real uptake after this, which is great. But, you know, now I know about it, and actually getting that conversation started again, because we still have a test, because forces are insisting, certainly the Met, still 5.4, that they're not budging on. And it's still there. So it's still a barrier that we seem to, but you're absolutely right. It doesn't define you, does it?
No, it doesn't.
Being a good police officer. And it also reinforces some of the members of the public, and they're like, oh, you can't even be fit to, you know, you need to be fit to be a police officer. And it's not about that. And the whole conversation gets hijacked, if you like. But
I sometimes do it though, just to like write.
I know, yeah,
Provoke.
it's brilliant, but it's
But it's
done
really
in such a way.
insightful, right? It's really insightful to see what your colleagues think, because like I said, it's the one subject that people, they don't even necessarily have to be anonymous on there. They're very, very strong opinions, and yeah. I think these are people that, you know, it doesn't just affect women, but it impacts us more, right? It impacts us a lot more than men. You know, we talk about the 3 A's, you know, menstruation, menopause, maternity. You know, I've had 4 children. There are lots of, although someone said to me the other day, well, that's your decision that you went above the national average on Twitter. But, you know, I've had 4 kids, and your body does change, you know, and if we don't do it, if we, you know, my husband have children, so who else is going to do it, right? So, I mean, actually, when I was phoned up about my award that I'd won, I was sat there, and it was my due date actually with my 4th little boy, and I remember them ringing me up, and I was really grumpy. I remember being really, really grumpy, because I just thought this baby isn't going to come, and it was the best news. And I like Lucy, I had no idea that I'd been nominated, and you know, like Lucy, I never did this for awards. I never did this for, you know, kudos. I just really, you know, and things are thrown out there. Things are more, you know, Twitter's really helped actually with the Bleep Kind stuff and my minds and the contacts and stuff. But I never did it to be, you know, the poster girl for anything. I just wanted to use my experiences to help others, you know, because it is hard being a police officer, and it's hard being a woman in policing, you know, being a mum, you know, and all of that sort of thing. So I mean, I was so grateful for the award, you know, and I came up with my mum and Jude, who I think was only like 10 days old or something. And I think they had the picture of him and his little baby grow. But and I was so grateful for it, and stuff like this I'm always really grateful for as well, because you know, if one person in the chat or watching this that goes, oh, I don't feel alone now, then that is worth it. Yeah, it's worth it.
It's just continuing to support and not pulling down. It's just continuing to, like I said, it's not about the kudos, but in all honesty, you have saved Bleak Kind, you and Carly, what you and Carly have done, and certainly with the Bloom Minds work, I guarantee you've saved people from leaving the organisation, good people from leaving, and that's exactly what, you know, we want more people coming in, more good people coming in, and certainly women. We want to get that parity because it's really important, isn't it? And you know, the inspiration side of it, and that's why I think it's good to have that inspiration today around with your kids in the background, and you're still fighting the fight and doing the do, and it's just great the work that you've done, and it is totally inspirational, in all honesty. And you know, hopefully many awards to come, because the awards just raises what you're trying to do. You know, it's great. But it raises that awareness, doesn't it, across policing, because we never spoke about this, did we? Years ago?
No. And for everyone that's listening on this call today, or if you're watching this on a recording, the creation of this award was because we know that there are people across policing, women across policing, doing amazing things, and there was no other areas of being able to highlight that and thank them for the good work that they're doing, and you are doing. I mean, you've only got to read the chat. When you get opportunity to read the chat, Jen and Carly, if you're out there and you're reading it too, you have affected so many women across policing and so many people across policing, officers, staff, I'm sure, that all feel pressured at one point or another, and perhaps don't identify what it is that's going on, especially when you're going through pregnancy. Flipping heck. As I say, we are worse in policing than any other organisation for how we support our colleagues when they get pregnant, realistically, because it's almost as if, oh, well, you're suddenly going to declare you're pregnant. You suddenly get to be put over in that pile over there. Oh, that's it. Well, we'll see you in about 15 months then. See ya. As if you don't exist anymore. And things have got to change. And we've been pushing for years for that. And it is this inspirational work that you're doing and the positive work that's happening in different forces that are really making a difference. But we want to see that consistency across all forces. So again, that's another reason why this is so important, because if one person goes back to their force and says, we need to get involved in this Bleak Kind and we need to make sure there are things available for our colleagues, then that's a win for us straight away. And I'm sure it's a win for you too. It's about normality as well, isn't it? You know, it's our career. We have kids. I mean, God, I had 5. So, you know, if you went up there with the National AgVig, I'm up there too. We're in that flipping group of keeping the population going, I tell you. And if we don't do it, you're absolutely right. What happens then? You just end up... and also, I think realistically, what you're showing is that if anyone sits in a role in policing and thinks they can't do something, like they can't possibly conceivably have children and then still be able to work in policing and come back, what you're actually saying to everybody is you can, and people around you can support you to make sure it can work. And we all, you know, we all absolutely flipping hold our hats to our families and our parents that help us do this, because let's face it, you always need grandparents to help with the flipping childcare, don't you? Let's be honest. Yes. They're like the pseudo PCs behind us, aren't they, realistically, helping us be able to do our jobs. But that's what we want to get across to everybody. Like you say, be kind, help each other, raise each other up and help each other out. And then it's amazing what you can achieve. And you are testament to that, Jen. And what you've achieved is absolutely amazing.
Fantastic. What more can we say on Inspirational Women's Day? The best of the best.
My mum's laughing in the background.
Is she? She's the one trying to hold all the kids down. She's got one on each arm and she's going, shh. Oh dear. Some of the comments that we're coming on, we're just looking at them as they go along. So just for info, Flint House now has a conditioning training package specifically to help officers with the JRFT. Yes, you're absolutely right. And I just wanted to raise on that point as well. One thing we have tried to push across policing, and we've got some forces that do it, that there is an allowance for officers on shift changeover to utilise gym facilities.
Yeah.
And have, you know, like if you've got like those down hours in like shift changeover, to be able to go and do some fitness. And
there's a
some
will, there's
forces
a
really
way.
support that.
Absolutely. Where there's a will, where there's a
There
Jen, there's a
is.
way.
Absolutely. I mean, poor old Carly, I think, is going to be looking at nominations to join your group, and it's just going to go through the roof. This is all going to be your fault. You do know that, realistically. But do you know what? If you can replicate that and people can start their own groups in the areas where they live and the police forces that they're at, then how amazing is that? Because you're absolutely right. That is what we need. If we can't beat the JRFT, how we're trying to beat it, and we won't go into all that technical detail because we
wanna
take
keep it-
over
we
the
wanna
whole
keep it
event.
light.
But let's beat it by, you're absolutely right, giving it the proportionality that it deserves. It's just one cog in a very big wheel, and
Very
it shouldn't
big.
define us.
No.
It absolutely shouldn't.
That's really
because-
the thing of the day. I'm just going to take that away. It doesn't define you. I really love that. Thank
Yeah.
you so much, Jen, for
worries.
taking the time.
Thanks for having me.
So, thanks for coming. Really appreciate it. We're going to take a short break now till 11:05.
just so you can get a
Um,
cuppa.
Get a copper and come back, because we will be just talked in a northern accent then. back at
Well,
5
she
past,
said,
because
get
we
a
will be
cuppa.
That
copper.
wouldn't seem lovely.
We'll be coming back. We'll be
That would
starting
be
dead on
lovely.
11:05. Thank you.
Please, can you advise me how can signpost line managers and others to blue mines? You and Carly are saving women being lost from police.
Turn your mic off, Jen. Oh, you've done it.
Joining the police service is one of those moments that stays with you. You never question giving your heart and soul,
To the beat, to the job, to the city.
Fighting crime, helping victims, serving the community, going the extra mile.
and whilst the Metropolitan Police Service has been keeping London safe for nearly 200 years,
Met Friendly has been protecting the police family and keeping our money secure for over 125 years.
While we're protecting the public, they're protecting us and our families, keeping our money secure.
helping you secure that first home, dream wedding, or much needed holiday.
Or just helping you when the unexpected happens.
And the expected when it's time to hang up your boots.
Met Friendly are here for you every step of the way, offering a range of relevant products to help you save, invest and protect.
After all, we've been doing it for the police family for a long time.
Not only are you eligible to join, but so is your family.
And all profits the society makes are reinvested for your benefit through supporting the police family.
Or distributed back to its members, you.
Let them help to secure a better financial future for you and your family. Not just while you're in service, but for the rest of your life.
Before life passes you by in the blink of an eye. Joining the police service is one of those moments that stays with you. You never question giving your heart and soul.
To the beat, to the job, to the city.
Fighting crime, helping victims, serving the community, going the extra mile.
And whilst the Metropolitan Police Service has been keeping London safe for nearly 200 years,
Met Friendly has been protecting the police family and keeping our money secure for over 125 years.
While we're protecting the public, they're protecting us and our families, keeping our money secure.
helping you secure that first home, dream wedding, or much needed holiday.
Or just helping you when the unexpected happens.
And the expected when it's time to hang up your boots.
Met Friendly are here for you every step of the way, offering a range of relevant products to help you save, invest and protect.
After all, we've been doing it for the police family for a long time.
Not only are you eligible to join, but so is your family.
And all profits the society makes are reinvested for your benefit through supporting the police family.
Or distributed back to its members, you.
Let them help to secure a better financial future for you and your family. Not just while you're in service, but for the rest of your life.
Before life passes you by in the blink of an eye.
I need to dodge.
Sorry.
Welcome back. Hopefully everyone's got a brew and they're rested. Just quickly again, just like to say thanks our headline sponsors for today, Met Friendly. Like again, please look them up if you haven't. They've helped policing for many, many years. Really, really excited for our next speaker. Absolute. When we talk about inspirational women, my God, it is one of. If you see on your screen now, there's a picture there, and Karen's going to come in now as our last speaker. But Karen is Jen's mum, and I'll let her speak about her journey, obviously. But there's a tweet there that Jen put on Twitter.
Can you read
quite
it?
a few months ago. Yeah, I can't really read it, but it is such a great tweet because Jen had come to Leatherheads and not seen her name up on a board ever. But there it is. Her name's there on a board, and she tweeted about it. We did put it up earlier on in the seminar, but we didn't make any reference to it. So now we're going back to that. But we thought it was a lovely segment, a segue into Karen, who is the fantastic mother of Jen. And must take credit for having such a fantastic daughter. But this is about you, Karen. Now this bit is about you, and we want to hear about, my God, you know, how many years in policing, what's kept you there, what differences you've seen. You must have seen so many, but what's kept you being this inspirational female police officer, and dealing with everything that you have dealt with. So really over to you, Karen, if you want to give us a little bit of an oversight into what your journey's been like.
Well, I don't feel very inspirational. So I joined 12th of July 1976, and I've worked full time since then. And originally, obviously, I was on a response team, which was called a relief then, at Woolwich and Plumstead, which was the old R district, for 4 years. Then I went to Peckham, which was M, and I was there for 18 years. And then I was moved to Lewisham because they did they moved everybody around, and I've been there at Lewisham for 25 years. So, I mean, I've done a few things. I spent about 29 years on team, but not all in one chunk. And I did crime squad and a murder squad in the 70s. I did crime desk, and I was a home beat and on response team in the 80s. I was on, what else was I? Schools, sorry, it's hard to remember. Schools, CSU, response team, and a couple of other bits in the 90s. I spent most of the, whatever the next bit is, noughties or something, are they, on response team. So I've done response team in every decade since 1970s, except this one, the 2000 and whatever it is, I don't know what it's called, but and although I've done other bits and pieces, I really loved being on response team. I absolutely loved being part of the team. I've worked with some fantastic people, and you're not supposed to, but I've had some great laughs, you know, really good times, wonderful friendships which are ongoing from then. And just like everybody, I've met people who I didn't like very much, and I'm sure they didn't like me, but that's life. But it hasn't affected how much I've enjoyed doing that. And I'm now in the Integrated Offender Management team at Greenwich, and I love that as well. I work with a male officer. He's a great bloke. I'm older than his mum, sadly, but we get on really well, and I love the role. I really, really enjoy it. And I think that's, in a way, you've got to narrow your view. So I'm aware of all the negative publicity and all that's going on, but I narrow my view and I think I enjoy what I'm doing. I work in an office with some great colleagues. You know, we get on really well. It's a really interesting job. So narrow your view and think about the things that you really like. And then obviously consider what else is going on. And if you can help people, do it. But I don't think it should be the focus, because that's what brings you down and makes you feel bad. And actually, policing is a great role. It's you know, we do a wonderful job at helping the public. We do it every day, all over the country. You know, while in the media, you would think we were the worst people in the world, but the job is full of fabulous people. And so I think we need to refocus in a way and have a bit of pride in ourselves, you know, and also I don't agree with a lot of policies and etc., but that's not what it's all about. What it's all about is what I do day to day and what my colleagues do day to day. And I think we all mostly do a really great job. We do a lot of things we don't have to do. You know, the police service is full of really compassionate, kind, friendly, helpful people. And I think it's easy just to dwell on the media's constant attacks on policing and police officers. And that is not the reality. Yes, there are some bad people, but there are bad people in the National Health Service, in teaching, in the media, you know, but we don't investigate those. We don't look at those. We don't spread the poison, if you like, about these other services. But we are targets. But that's fine, because we're still here. We'll always be here. We'll always be doing a good job, helping each other, working together. And there are some amazing people in the police service, men and women, who are just going about their daily job, doing their best every working day, not asking for anything and not acknowledged and not really valued, but they're there keeping the whole thing in motion. And I think that's the most important thing. And it's all about supporting each other as well. So on this International Women's Day, I'd like women in the job to actually ask themselves, am I supporting other women and colleagues, male colleagues, or am I raising myself up by putting other people down? And you know who you are. So I think that's a really important question to ask people in all ranks, to ask themselves, am I doing everything I can to help my colleague who is going through this or experience that? That's what we need to do. We need to go forward as a team. We're all one team. And I think sometimes the job itself creates division. The CID, the detective uniform PC, is the greatest one, isn't it? But we're all doing a job within the police service, and we're all of value. And of course, my most admiration is for people, PCs, inspectors, sergeants on response teams. That's who I think they're at the, you know, at the front and fore of policing, and they do a great job, and all they get is slapped down in the media all the time. And they are my heroes and heroines, you know, and they don't get the credit that they deserve, I don't think. So that's what I think anyway.
Absolutely. Absolutely brilliant. Couldn't have thought of a better question myself. Absolutely. And coming from you as well, Karen, because you've been there for such a long time. You've seen so many changes. You've gone through 2 pregnancies, and relating that certainly to what Jen's pregnancy journeys has been like. Was there much comparison? Could you see that, or would you say
Jennifer, 1983, well, I mean, it was the horrified when I returned to work, because it just wasn't the done thing. There were women who came back to work and brought up their families and worked as police officers, but it was anticipated that you would leave.
Right.
And the superintendent, when I was at Peckham, was very annoyed that I was coming back. I mean, he was absolutely incandescent that I was coming back. And they did everything they could to make my life a misery. And in the end, I just thought, up yours. I didn't say that, obviously, but I just thought it. I thought, no, I'm not leaving. I'm not going to leave. And then in 1991, I had my son, Liam, and, well, it was slightly different, but I'm a lone parent. So it's really funny, this, actually. The chief inspector called me and he said, I don't want any trouble. So I'm not quite sure what he meant. And I still don't know what he meant. So I said, right, okay, no trouble will come. And then he sort of did this weird find the father questioning of me. So then he started, which was really hilarious, because it wasn't somebody in policing, and he started reeling off the names of all the male officers he could think of at the station, which was absolutely hilarious. Sergeants, people I'd never met, it was so funny. But I mean, can you imagine that happening now? I mean, it was, but the things that, the people that kept me going were my colleagues, because they were so wonderful to me. They really were. And so in the end, you get through it, don't you?
Yeah.
And I've got my lovely children, Liam and Jennifer. They're all grown up now. I've got grandchildren, and I feel very, very lucky. But you've just got to rise above it sometimes and just get on with it. Do what you want to do. If you want to stay in the job and then you work out a way how to do it and keep going. Just keep going.
Karen, we've had some questions in the chat. First one, have you still got your original handbag, wooden truncheon and chain link handcuffs?
My handbag's been a bit sad. But,
bless you.
Yeah, it's a bit, but I still got it. And the little truncheon that used to put in your handbag, and by the time you found it, you were half dead. And the whistle and chain, obviously. So, yeah, I've still got them, yeah.
And then another question of, do you still work full time?
Yeah, still work full time, yeah.
Crikey. Yeah. I mean, that's amazing. I mean, how many years is it then? I was trying to do the maths. Is it 48? What is it?
Well, 48 in July.
Yeah,
48 in July. That is an amazing achievement. It really is. And I tell you what, Karen, as well, you could be our inspirational quote that we could just utilise on all our comms, because you that question you posed is the perfect question, isn't it? Realistically, if we could all do that.
We should ask ourselves, because I'm as guilty as everybody else at times of not being as helpful and supportive as I could be. Maybe I'm in a mood, maybe I'm a bit tired, it's just, but we should all try and ask ourselves every day, are we helping people? Are we putting people down because of some inadequacy in ourselves, which is usually why people do it? Are we being harsh on a person because we feel that they're in some sort of competition with us? And I think we need to ask that. And I think, I don't have a lot to do with senior officers if I can help it. And I do think a lot of people in the upper echelons of the job particularly need to ask themselves, are the reasons they joined the police still the reasons for being here? Are they supporting the people who work for them properly and in the right way?
Yeah.
And it's not to say wrongdoers shouldn't be dealt with. That is not what I'm saying. But people going about their normal everyday job and sometimes making mistakes, where is it gone that we don't keep blaming people for things? Sometimes it's policy, sometimes it's equipment, sometimes it's lack of staff. Let's look a little bit closer on what's going on.
Yeah.
But yes, try and support your colleagues. Sometimes, even if you don't like them very much, you can offer a helping hand, can't you? Set that aside, you know, and just do your best. Be the best person you can.
Look, we've got someone in the chat here, Vanessa Ostrowski. Hi, Karen.
Yeah, I work with her dad, I think.
Yes, she said you work with her dad. He's been retired nearly 20 years, but he remembers you.
Yeah, well, I'm not surprised, really.
Was he on the list? You don't have to answer that question, but was he on the list? Let's not go down that route, but I just had to pose that.
I remember he was lovely. He was at East Dulwich and he was a lovely man, yeah.
And do you plan to retire at any time?
Well, not really. Not the. I mean, I suppose eventually I will have to go. They'll say get out, and that's, you know.
She's asked me to have all these children, and she won't retire and look after them.
Outrageous.
Shocking. Does she not know the contract of being a grandma or a nanny? Crikey.
The thing is, you don't know. I mean, I'm 66. You don't know if you'll be able to carry on all the time. You just don't know what's around the corner. So, you know, get on with your life and don't make too many plans. Just enjoy it in the moment. You know, I like going to work. I enjoy what I'm doing. So that's what I'm going to do until something happens and I can't, you know, that's it.
Someone's actually put in the chat that they reckon it's the grandkids that explain why you won't retire. Which I think is extremely cheeky, because, you know,
extremely.
It's outrageous. You want all those grandchildren. We all do. There's some amazing comments in the chat. And as I said, at the end of this, I hope you get time to sit and read all of them, because absolutely everybody is saying how inspirational and how brilliant the question was, and absolutely should be there, and should be asked of everybody.
We'll be tweeting that out later.
We will be tweeting that out. You're going to be famous. I tell you, that line's going out there, because realistically, if we all start, as you say, instead of having the old adage of that to get your next rank, you have to be stepping over somebody and treating them poorly to get your next rank, which used to be the whole historic way of doing it, didn't it? Let's be fair.
Probably still now.
We need to turn that round and say that you will actually get your next promotion or your next specialism or your next job by how many people you've supported and helped and mentored and
well,
just whatever you've done,
you know.
Yeah,
absolutely unbelievable amount of people's lives that you've obviously changed throughout policing and internally, externally. And on that note, Commissioner Karen.
Yeah, apparently.
It looks like
Andrew Quinton's saying you're going to be the commissioner.
Yeah,
like that. That's gonna.
You won't have any time for the grandchildren.
I love being PC.
We love having you, I must say, and keep going. And thank you so much from the bottom of our hearts today on International Women's Day to take part and give up your time to come and speak to us. Hopefully it's been a nice morning for you, and I carry on for the rest of the day, and we'll all, you know, inspire everyone, each other going forward. But thanks again, and we'll see you soon.
Well, I hope you're going to hang around. There's only 5 minutes or so left.
Yeah.
I'm just going to do a very brief update on where we are at with our menopause work and campaign. So hopefully everybody's hanging on to hear all about that. Realistically, menopause has been a subject and a vital topic that we have been trying to get some positive change across policing now for a number of years. We actually are in the throes of reporting on our second national menopause survey that we took out to everybody in policing last October. The second one since 2018. We're the only people to have done it, and we're really proud that we've done it, because again, it does give us that evidence base to show police forces where they need to develop and where they need to change. This is an inspirational seminar, so I want to say there's some positive, inspirational facts that are going to come out that are going to really assist forces in developing policies, procedures, and what they should be doing to help us all when we get to that transitional stage, and if we need support to stay in the workplace and get through it as best as we possibly can. I'm not going to go into it into great detail. There's going to be some really good facts coming out on the back of it, and we really want to push it again so that forces do realise it, you know, there is a lot more work to be done. We had over 6,000 respondents. The evidence is clear, and I hope you'll come back and visit us on another event so that we can go and talk the detail and talk what next steps is in regards to it. And that's going to be coming in the next couple of months or so. So unless you've got questions on the whole menopause area, I don't want to turn this into a menopause session as such, other than to say thank you to everyone, because if we didn't have the data, if you didn't respond to the yet another police survey, then we wouldn't have the evidence and we wouldn't be able to push those changes across forces. So it's vital that we have your input, and it's events such as this and all the network of everybody out there and how you're going across policing and helping us understand what the issues are that allows us to do the work that we do. So we just want to say a big thank you, and a thank you to all of you, not only for joining this today, but whether you're recorded and you listen to it later, or whether you're out on shift, whatever it is you're doing, we want you to take the positives from today. The fantastic inspirational question that Karen just posed to us is an absolute mark of where we would like to push this forward in. What are you doing today to help your colleague, to help fellow women, to help officers, staff, whoever it might be, just to make their day a little bit better? Because if you're doing that, then I do believe in karma, and I think it comes back. So I absolutely think that's one of the key things to take from this today. What about you, Bea?
Absolutely, couldn't have said it better myself. It's just been absolutely brilliant. Wish we could do it more. Hopefully we can do a few more of these, but it is that one day that's set aside for us as women, championing each other. And just today, if it's just that one time to think about, am I doing enough for my fellow woman within this organisation, then that's got to be a good thing, definitely. And thank you for all the men out there, all our fabulous male colleagues that I think they've been championed as well today, because we couldn't do it without you guys either. The he for she, all of that work, it's about us bringing us together. And like Karen said, and Jen and Lucy have all said, it's about teamwork. It's about being there for each other, and it's about just supporting each other. It's a really tough job, tough times, but really, really good to bring this together today. So thanks, Hayley, for joining today and doing this with me today. And I think it's been really good. I've enjoyed it.
And thank you to our team. I mean, at the end of the day, this looks very slick and has been an amazing event. If you think that's down to us too, you don't know us very well. You know there are some really brilliant people behind the scenes that have made this event what it is. So we just want to get them on camera, if they'd just like to come down here and just wave and say hello. There's not a choice in that. I think that's the only thing we're going to close it down. Quick, get behind us. So we've got Anna and Claire here. Oh, go on, get in. Push the nose. Get in. So I want to say thank you to them. And we've also got Lisa in the background, and we've got Anthony again that's also been assisting our IT team and everybody. We just want to say a huge thank you. So everybody, just finally to you, have a fantastic day. Go and do something positive, whatever it is. Eat something nice, drink something nice this evening, have a 5-minute catch up with your friends, whatever it is, do something positive right now and build this on for the rest of the day.
Brilliant. Thanks, everybody. Take care. Happy International Women's Day.